Can you feel that slow rot in the air? It's apathy, it's confusion, it's the quiet shrug of good men who have just stopped showing up. Everywhere you look, the world's getting louder about what it believes, while the church gets quieter and quieter about what it knows to be the real truth. And we've started calling that silence wisdom. We've celebrated cowardice and tolerance. But the truth is that our silence has never protected anyone, and not speaking the truth has never really saved anyone from hell. It has only ever perpetuated evil. And Charlie Kirk often called men to engage. He wasn't just talking about arguing at a campus or posting online or starting some kind of movement. He was talking about the responsibility of free men to steward what God has given them. Charlie had that fire because he understood the stakes. He knew that America is one of a kind, it's unique. It is a constitutional republic, and one that only stands firm when its citizens do. And whether or not you liked his tone or his strategy, he is right about the fact that the decay of our country isn't necessarily because evil got stronger. It's because righteous men stopped engaging. Men let school boards teach confusion to their kids while they refuse to show up to the board meetings. They let city councils normalize sin right in front of their face. Other men let countless girls walk into the abortion clinic without a word to them about the gospel or the sanctity of life or a suggestion for alternatives that could help provide options for them. Fathers let social media define truth for their children, and other men say, well, I just want to focus on the gospel and not politics. Dietrich Bonhoeffer said, silence in the face of evil is itself evil. He said, God will not hold us guiltless. Not to speak is to speak. Not to act is to act. He wasn't speaking theoretically. Bonhoeffer was watching his own nation crumble under similar problems to what we face. Germany was dealing with a rise in experiments around transgender ideologies and early attempts at sex reassignment surgeries. This was all happening through a guy named Magnus Hirschfeld, as well as the obvious tyrannical government overreach that was happening at that time, all while the church chose comfort over truth and conviction. And if he were alive today, he would be saying the same thing to us. Brother, that is the gospel, he would say. The gospel that confronts, redeems, and transforms everything that it touches, including culture. A faith that hides when the world needs truth isn't faith, it's unbelief with a religious disguise placed on it. Jesus said, take up your cross, not just wear one around your neck and tuck it under your shirt so no one sees it. God didn't put in this nation by accident, and he didn't put you in this nation by accident. Acts 17 says that he determines the times and the exact places where you should live. That means that you were born for this hour. You were meant to stand firm, not stand back and watch the world burn. You were meant to build, to bless, to resist, and to rebuild again when necessary. You live in a republic. That means that you are the government. Every law that dishonors God exists because someone, somewhere, failed to stand when it was time to. And if that stings, good. It should, because we need a wake up call. We don't need every man to become a pundit or a protester or a street preacher, but we do need every man to show up, to pray for his leaders, to drop by a school board meeting, to write his senator, to teach his kids the truth and why it matters and how to stand up for it. Because if you won't stand your ground, someone else will, and they won't be aiming to honor God. Apathy is not neutral. It's just surrendering your volition. When the righteous withdraw, the wicked don't just advance, they take over. And that's not a fear-mongering statement, it's just human history. Israel learned this the hard way. When they stopped tending to truth and idols filled their land, when fathers stopped teaching their children, the next generation forgot who they were. And we're watching the same story repeat right now. We just happen to have Wi-Fi and social media. And men stand by, scrolling on their phones, while the US burns. And Charlie's engagement wasn't about asserting dominance, it was about faithful stewardship. He was doing what any believer with conviction should do: make disciples and teach them to obey everything Christ commanded. The absence of godly influence in the public square guarantees the presence of evil influence. We all love to say God's in control, and He is. But God's control doesn't excuse your abdication. His sovereignty chose to work through His people. If you've got breath in your lungs, you've got marching orders from your King. And here's the thing that no one wants to say out loud, but I will. God isn't pleased with passive men. He's patient. Yes. He's merciful. Yes. But He's never pleased when we hide behind comfort while the culture mocks His name. And you don't need to be the next Charlie Kirk. You need to be you, a husband, a father, a man of God who knows how to wield truth in your home, in your church, your community, and your city. So just show up to more civic events, offer to pray with the police chief, send an email to your representatives, lead a men's group that actually talks about real issues and then fervently prays over them instead of wasting time talking about sports scores. We've got enough quiet Christians, and the enemy isn't threatened by a silent church, but he's terrified of an engaged one. So, brother, engage. Engage even if it costs you your comfort. Engage even if you're misunderstood. Engage because your children are watching how you respond to evil. Engage because freedom is fragile and fearful men cannot preserve it. Engage because this moment, this fight, might be the one that your great grandchildren thank you for. Engage or die. Not physically necessarily, but spiritually as a society. And when you die that kind of death, it doesn't just bury you, it buries legacy. So it's time to stand, pray, speak, show up. Carry your convictions into your community like it actually matters. You are not saved to sit quietly while evil rewrites the rules of righteousness. You are saved to partner with the King in pushing back the darkness. Engage, brother, because you are called to be salt of the earth, a radical preservation of the righteousness of God, a different flavor from that of the godless. You are called to be a light. And Jesus said, "You are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on a stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house. And in the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven." The light goes dim when good men stop tending to the flame, and it's time to tend it again.